Okay, so it's 5 minutes to 5. For the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to get to the king's daughter,
Yes.
and we've never quite made it. So is there a particular reason for this?
Well, what happened was that the distributors got in touch with Simon Poole, said, this film is coming
Who's
out.
the producer of the program?
Yes, Simon said, this film is coming out. Would you review it? Here is a link. So they sent us the link, and then we said, okay, we will. When's it coming out? And then they said, oh, you can't review it because it's not coming out in the UK. And then there's an embargo on it, which we discovered actually whilst we were on air. So by that point, I'd seen the film, and we thought, well, we can't talk about it, which is a shame. So we'll talk about it at some point when it comes up in the future, which is what we're going to do now. It still hasn't been released in the UK. It has, however, now opened in America, and so the embargo is off. So it's directed by Sean McNamara. The screenplay has had many, many different names on it because this is a project that has gone through multiple years. So the screen credits include at some point James Seamus. I think Ronald Bass is it's still there. I can't even remember who is actually finally on the finished credit. Anyway, so the director made Soul Surfer, which is that film about Bethany Hamilton, who you interviewed, Bethany Hamilton, who was the surfboard. It was attacked by a shark on a surfboard.
Okay.
Then became anyway. So cast include Pierce Brosnan as Louis XIV, William Hurt as Père Lachaise, his confessor, Casca de Lorio as Marie Joseph, the king's daughter. So quite the pedigree. The king wants to be immortal, and he's told that he can be immortal if he captures a mystical mermaid-like sea creature who can then be sacrificed during an eclipse, therefore passing her healing powers on to him. Meanwhile, water-loving Marie Joseph, who has been raised in a convent, not knowing that the king is her father, is brought to court and has a crucial conversation. Here we go.
Do you recall our conversation in the garden about the woman of the fountain?
Yes, of course. The only woman.
You remind me so much of her. At times, I think you are her. You are the very spirit of your mother.
My mother?
She had a mind and spirit all her own. She was an individual. She was not made for court life any more than you are. She left for the convent before I knew she was with child. She died, giving birth.
Sing, Pierce.
So exactly. So the daughter forms a bond with the sea creature around about the time that she discovers her father's identity and purpose. So big trub ahead. So mixture of historical fact and fiction. Development of this dates back to 1999.
Wow.
When the property was with the Jim Henson Company, because it's from an existing text. Then went to Disney. Then Natalie Portman was earmarked for it. 2013, it was McNamara with Pierce Brosnan in the lead and Bill Nighy as the priest, Fan Bingbing as the mermaid. Production began in 2014 with a Chinese company, Kinim Films, investing $20 million. Julie Andrews brought in as narrator, looking big, shot in France, at Versailles and in Australia. Set for release in 2015, then pulled without explanation. Trade Stories said the effects needed work. 6 years later, it now arrives, and it's easy to see why it was delayed. Firstly, the effects are pretty shoddy. I mean, it does look like you said it's 6 years and this is what you got. As for the script, it's hardly The Princess Bride, which I think is what it's aiming for. Casca gives it her best shot, but there's really not much to work with. The best stuff is Brosnan being king, being woken up by his confessor and confessing to having shared his bed with so-and-so, only to be corrected by his confessor that, no, it wasn't so-and-so, it was somebody else, so-and-so. So Pierce Brosnan does all that stuff rather well. I was trying to imagine this put against something like Princess Bride or Princess Diaries or Little Mermaid, and it just isn't in the same league. I mean, it's possible that it may earn a following on DVD or streaming, but the end of it is a direct rip-off of Splash, and never remind me of Splash, because if you remind me of Splash, I'll just go, is this as good as Splash? I mean, there are 100 brilliant mermaid movies from Miranda to Splash, and this isn't one of them. So, yes, it was delayed for a long time. Honestly, not surprised.
Maybe it should have been delayed a little bit longer.
They still wouldn't have got those special effects any better.